Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, and Happy New Year. This is Ava Tech, the host for IwA.ai, Innovate with Authenticity. So, this is the start of the new year, and I wanted to share with you how we create innovation. And the first thing is to understand, are we creating the right environment for creating innovation, to create that safe environment to help leaders to look within and to reframe sometime bad news and to go forward with what we can change and make a difference. So there's a lot of things that I've said there, but I can share with you an experience. As we're starting our new year, 2024, let's look back at some of the success that you were able to do in 2023. For me, I remember it was about reframing myself and also help others to reframe themselves just by focusing on your self-awareness. And you might not notice, but you would have a lot of your presence is important to your teams, to your companies, and to your clients, all the people around you. So, how do we show up is super important, especially in the face of adversities, in some time when you receive news that is less ideal to us. So I can tell you this. I was really excited. I was talking to this potential company and we had a really great talk. And I thought this project is going to happen. And I was starting to think about all the possibilities, all the new innovations, all the integrations that I could really help the clients. And I was waiting for that call just to have a final confirmation. Everything seems to be okay. And just when I was about to go into a meeting with another client, then I received this call from this potential client, and I was saying to myself, well, I cannot take the call right now, but I wanted to tell my potential clients that, um, just to pick up the phone and to be responsive and to greet them and just to say, hey, look, I'm going into another meeting, but I'm really looking forward um, to be discussing further with you after this call. And that's what I did. I picked up the phone and I was like, hey, it's great to hear from you. And I'm about to go into this meeting and can we talk later? And then the potential client actually sounded really sad. And they said to me, well, actually, Ava, I'm sorry, but due to budget, we have to postpone this for now. And I was very disappointed. But what do? In 1 minute, I want to have with another client, and I know I'm going to have to be fully present for that client. But at the same time, it is a disappointing news. So, first of all, I I felt really bad. I didn't really know what to say, but I remember saying something like, well, it happens, but let's think about future collaborations. If you ever pass by Texas or consider expanding in Texas, let me know. I'm always open to new collaboration. And that's the only thing I could really think about. And I didn't really know if it was even the right thing to say at that point, but I always wanted to leave the conversation with a good vibe, and even things doesn't work well, but especially in those moments it's really defined our characters, and innovation doesn't really happen when we are feeling crushed. Often I've noticed when I feel my heart is expanding and opening up to new possibilities. And at that point I also noticed, well, it's really not about me. It's just about the environment. And sometimes we get a surprise call where we really thought that things gonna go well and it didn't. So it was a very short and less than ideal conversation. So I closed the call, and then the next thing I know, I was going into a call with my executive woman's female leader. And she gave me this big sign. And when I asked her, like, hey, how's your day? We were starting with that. And she just told me, look, I just received a really bad news. Like this week was one of the toughest week. I really have to comfort my team. I have to deliver bad news to them that, my boss just leave the company. And um, when she say leave, like I can have, sometimes you can read between the lines and you can see that there's a lot more nuance, like a lot more complication in that. But it's also make me think about my own situation and somehow what at first is magnifying the sadness that, oh, so thing didn't work out on my end and thing didn't work out on her end. And suddenly there's a huge silence and I couldn't really hide my feelings, but I couldn't really tell her what happened either because she already is telling me her bad news. And as a client, I wanted to be there as a coach. I wanted to be there for her, and as a strategic advisor, I wanted to be there for her. And there's like a huge masculine energy that came over me, and I wanted just to be strong and smile, but I just couldn't even smile because at that point I was telling myself this is one of those days. And she was able to see through it, and she said, Ava, I feel like I'm transferring my sadness to you. But the moment she said, I feel like I'm transferring my sadness to you, something within me make me have that awareness again. And at that moment, I made a decision. You know what? What happened to us, what happened to our days does not have to define us. And I promise you, I'm going to give you another story. And I promise I'll come back to the original story after. But I used to volunteer or help an organization and very much focus on mindfulness, on having consciousness in the way we think. And a lot of time, like I'm also busy. So I go in and I wanted to be there to help the CEO and coach the CEO. And the there were some tension even between me and the CEO at that point because the way I think is, you know what, I'm busy and I cannot be always at the highest level of consciousness, but I can learn and I can be with you. And sometime being together, we have this energy, you can switch it. And the way the CEO was thinking is that, well, if you're not at the highest level of consciousness, you can't really help me. So it's just a very difference in the way that we think, right? But this is one of those experience where I do believe that we as human, we experience unpleasant events in our day. And how do we get back from it? Do we wait until we get like the highest level of consciousness? Or do we actually switch our mind? And in this case, my client, she's a leader, woman and leader, and she's facing with a lot of adversity in her own workplace as well. And there I am also facing with some of the bad news myself. 2023 was wonderful, but at the same time, it was a year of change. And the only constant thing in life now, being in this space, is make me realize that is change itself. Change stays constant, meaning that we experience change all the time. So how do we deal with it? How do we bring ourselves back to help ourselves to create innovations, to move forward, to think of new ideas, and also help the people around us? So at that point, when my client was saying, Ava, I'm transferring all the sadness to you, and I just realized that, you know what, we share something special. Maybe we share the sadness together. I And I told her I was feeling sad before going in. I was coming clean with her, but we don't have to stay that way. So let's focus on your day. And by doing that, it also helped me to reorient as well. So let's try this. And first, I was telling her about, I was asking her questions, really being the space to hold the space for her, to be there, to hold the space for her. And as she and coming in, I realized that there's some time when there's sad news and we can't change it. We can't change the facts that her leader suddenly have to leave the company. But what we can change is how she feel about it and what are some of the resources she can use to really help herself and help her team. So then I was just asking her questions and really let her talk about her emotions and feelings. And then I was asking her, so what you've done this week that it surprised you that it was helpful? And you know what she said? She said it was really helpful to actually even talk with my teams, and it made me realize that I'm a great leader because I chose the right team members. They were able to also give me that comfort in the moment of challenging for the entire company. And there I was being in awe of the theory I was setting out to myself. I chose this person because of their maturity. I chose this person of their compassion beside their functional knowledge. And there I was really experiencing the hypothesis that I put in, and these beautiful human colleagues and my team members really show up in the exact way that I was hoping for, and I was thinking their strengths are. And I just asked her, so what difference does it make? And she said, I just realized that sometimes when you look around, you can't really have the champion above, but then you can also have the champion within your teams. And I said, okay, so what else can you do based on that? And she said, this had been such a great win because we were able to really share and hold a space for each other's. And actually they're holding the space for me as well. They're all adults and I'm all adult, but sometimes when I was delivering the bad news, I didn't really know how. And they were there brainstorming with me and just being there with me. And and now I'm thinking about it. I wanted to create a cadence of a happy hour. Maybe we go once a week, we go out at this local bar after work um and the restaurant and really talk about our feelings and share as we're experiencing the digital transformation happening in our company. And then we brainstorm some more, but at the end, we talk about the scale and she realized how different she felt. And there's so many new ideas came from it. And the amazing thing is that at the end of it, my mood also have changed. I didn't even think about my own suffering as well. So here's the takeaway for you. Sometime when we feel like we're not in a great place. And the best way to get ourselves off that mode is actually to spend time, share our time with others, and really even do the opposite action, right? Like a lot of my friends tell me, and my colleagues tell me, well, if you don't feel well, take a break, cancel the clients. But in that moment, have I canceled that meeting with the clients? I would have been maybe suffering on my own, but helping others, acting on the opposite emotion, sometimes is the best medicine. And then we both left with action plans. And of course, I'm not saying that we should suppress our feelings and we should forget about how we feel. There's time that we need to honoring that, but there's other time where it's so helpful to decide it on an emotion, sometimes even the opposite emotion that you're feeling, and act on it, and then bring that goodness to help others. It could transforming your emotions and transforming your clients and your customers, and help you to create space for new things. I remember that day where I left and I started to write down so many new ideas that I could do. And I felt a new sense of bravery to make decisions that I was not able to make before based on that change. I was really hoping for that potential clients to come and make it a reality. I was excited for the project, but then there are many amazing new things that come from that experience too. So that was my experience. So happy practicing everything we're saying here, all the digital transformation, all the innovation that we wanted to do for our clients, for our customers, it start with us. So happy new year 2024 to you, and see you next time. My name is Ava, and thank you for listening to iAva.ai.